Senator. Full disclosure. You know, we've been pounding on the authorization of use of military force. I think it is an objective truth that Congress has punted on this duty for administrations after administrations, okay? So, and I say administrations on purpose because obviously it's about the military aspect, the political aspect. You know, there's a lot when you go from Bush to Obama to Trump. And now here we are once again where you guys don't really know what is going on around the world. That could be blamed on the executive, but it's really your job to demand that they come in, present the case, and you vote consistent with the constitutional authority to declare war. And that's what it is when you put blood and treasure on the line and people don't come home. You're making war. What is your take on what begins today in terms of this debate and these hearings, and where should it go for Congress?
Well, Chris, later today, Secretary Mattis and Secretary Tillerson, the Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense, will appear in front of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee to debate why we need an authorization for the use of military force. I feel strongly that 16 years after the Congress authorized the 2001 so-called AUMF, our declaration of war against those based in Afghanistan who attacked New York and the United States on 9/11, that we have gone far afield from the scope of that initial authorization. Most of the members of Congress today weren't even in Congress in 2001, and I don't think it was easy to imagine that we would someday lose American soldiers in the battlefield against ISIS in a country called Mali in West Africa, based on an attack that was launched in 2001 from Afghanistan, thousands of miles away. I do think this is an urgent job on the behalf of the United States Senate. I'm looking forward to these hearings today. As you know, Chris, I've been very active in African policy.
Yes.
I've been to Mali, I've been to Nigeria, I've been to Chad. I led a congressional delegation to go visit northern Nigeria in August. Most of my colleagues, I think, should be paying more attention to the roughly 20 countries in Africa where we have some U.S. troops, some in very small groups, some in very large groups deployed to fight terrorism across that continent.
Right, and that's why when Schumer and Graham came out and said, well, yeah, I didn't even know how many guys were in Niger. That's on you guys. That's not about the executive not telling you enough. Why would they tell you? You're not curious about it. They know you've punted on your duty to this. Of course, the executive is going to take authority that you guys give it, but it's on you. And I really hope, Senator, you have been active in this part of the world, in Africa and what's going on there. I hope you guys jump up and down about this. I really do. You guys are not shy when it comes to putting your flag in the ground. This matters. If you support the troops, support their mission. You know, advise and assist. We know now with what we saw in Niger, it's not an accurate assessment of what these men and women are up against in the field. So we're going to follow this very closely. Senator, thank you for being on New Day on a Monday morning especially. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.
Allison.
Thank you.
The first charges filed. Now the first arrest in Mueller's Russia investigation could come as early as today.